Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. No matter what time you're watching, welcome. Let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. And listen, if this story showed up for you, it's because it deserves to be heard. So subscribe to the channel so you don't miss stories like this one. The red dust clung to my skin like old sorrow. It was just another day like so many others here on the farm, near Tulsa, Oklahoma. The sun was cracking the earth and my soul right along with it. It had been 4 years since Mary had passed. 4 years of waking up alone, talking alone, eating alone. Didn't even need the alarm clock anymore. My body knew the right time to get up, even before the rooster crowed. 5:30 every damn morning. I'd get out of the empty bed, step onto the cold, bare concrete floor and start another pointless day. That morning in March, the heat was already killer before 7. The thermometer on the porch read 90 degrees and the day hadn't even really started. I grabbed my beat-up straw hat and headed out to check on the animals. The cattle had gotten too skinny with the drought. You could see their ribs through the cow's dry skin. I was going to have to sell some calves soon, or I'd lose them all. I walked down to the pond, almost dry. The water that was left was green, full of algae. The pecan trees in the pasture were bare, looking like skeletons planted in the cracked earth. The hot wind shook the dry branches, making a sad sound, like the moans of people suffering. The chickens scratched under the thin shade of the mesquite tree, looking for worms where there weren't any. I threw some corn in the yard, but they barely bothered to eat. Even the animals were worn down by this life. I went back to the house and made black coffee, strong as heartache. I sat at the kitchen table, the same one where Mary used to have coffee with me every morning. Her chair was still there, empty, waiting, always waiting. Sometimes I'd put my hand on the back of it and feel like she was still there. But when I looked close, I only saw emptiness. The old radio crackled with the morning news, talked about politics, about the big city, about things that didn't make a damn bit of difference to my life. I switched it off. The silence came back, heavy as lead. All you could hear was the tick-tock of the clock on the wall, counting the minutes of a life that wasn't going anywhere. After coffee, I went out to fix the pasture fence. The posts were rotten, the wires rusted. Everything just like me, old, tired, ready to break. I grabbed the hammer and nails, but my head wasn't there. It was far away, remembering when life had color. Mary used to laugh loud when I told jokes. She'd sing while she tended the garden, made fudge that smelled like heaven. The house had life, had good noise, had a reason to be. Now it was just silence and dust gathering on the furniture. The hammer slipped out of my sweaty hand and nearly caught my foot. I stopped working. There was no point in forcing it. When your head's not in the right place, your body doesn't listen right. I put the tools away and decided to take a ride around the pasture, see if I could find any lost pregnant cows. I saddled up Wind, my bay mare. She was older too, slower, but she still took me where I needed to go. We went out across the dry pasture, kicking up clouds of dust with every step. The sun was high now, burning the back of my neck. Sweat ran down my forehead, salty and hot. Halfway there, I stopped to drink water from my thermos. The water was lukewarm, tasted like metal, but it quenched my thirst. I looked at the horizon. All you could see was dry land, thin brush, a sky without a cloud. A landscape just like my life, without hope, without a future. That's when I heard it, a different sound coming from far away. It wasn't the moo of cattle or the song of a bird. It was a moan, a human moan. I spurred Wind and rode in the direction of the sound. The closer I got, the clearer it became. It was a woman's voice crying softly, but you could hear it. I found her near the dry creek bed, under a twisted oak tree. She was sitting on the ground, hugging her legs, rocking back and forth like a scared kid. Her light blue dress was dirty with mud and torn at the sleeve. Her long black hair covered her face. I got off the mare slowly. so as not to scare her. I cleared my throat before speaking. "Ma'am, you all right?" She snapped her head up. Her eyes were red from crying, but what caught my attention was the way she looked at me, with fear, a lot of fear. She shrank back even more, like a cornered animal. "No need to be afraid," I said softly. "I just want to help." She didn't answer. She just kept looking at me, figuring out if I was danger or salvation. I was old, bearded, covered in dirt. I must have looked like a ghost to a young woman like that. "What's your name?" I asked, staying where I was. "Anna," she said softly. "Anna. Pretty name. I'm John Batista. I live nearby. What happened to you?" She started crying again, harder now. Her body was shaking like a sapling in the wind. Something bad had happened, something really bad. She started to say, but her voice broke. "Easy. Take a deep breath. You don't have to tell me now if you don't want to." But she wanted to tell. She needed to tell. The words came out rushed, mixed with sobs. There were 3 men. They grabbed me on the highway when I was coming from Oklahoma City. They said they were going to take me far away, to a place where nobody would ever find me. I ran, but they ran after me. I managed to hide here in the woods, but I don't know if they're gone. The blood rushed to my head. 3 men against a woman alone. Pure cowardice. My fist clenched on its own. It had been a long time since I'd felt anger like that, since I'd felt like fighting for something. "How long ago did they leave?" I asked. "I don't know. A long time. The sun was high when I hid. Now it's going down." I looked at the sky. It was past 3 in the afternoon. Anna had been hiding there for hours, scared, hungry, thirsty, a girl lost in the middle of nowhere. "Come with me," I said, holding out my hand. "You'll be safe at my place." She hesitated. Normal. I was a stranger, just like the others. But need spoke louder. She took my hand slowly and stood up. Her legs were shaking. She could barely stand. "Can you get on the horse?" I asked. She nodded yes. I helped her onto Wind, climbed on behind her, and we rode off slowly. During the ride, she didn't say anything else. She just trembled and looked around, afraid of seeing the men appear again. When we got to the house, the sun was already low, painting everything in gold. Anna got off the horse with difficulty. She was weak. She needed food and rest. "Come in," I said, opening the front door. "Here you're at home." She entered slowly, looking at everything carefully. The simple living room, the old furniture, the photos of Mary on the wall. She stopped in front of one photo, the one where Mary was smiling in the yard. "Your wife?" she asked softly. "Was. She passed 4 years ago." Anna didn't say anything, but her look changed. It softened, more understanding. Pain recognizes pain. Loneliness recognizes loneliness. "Sit down there in the armchair," I said. "I'll make some coffee and heat up some food." In the kitchen, while I messed with the stove, my head was working. That girl had appeared in my life like rain in the middle of a drought. Not by chance. Life doesn't do anything by chance. Maybe she needed me, or maybe I needed her. Or maybe both needed each other. The coffee was ready. The good smell filled the whole house. It had been a long time since I'd smelled coffee mixed with hope. I went back to the living room with the cup in my hand. Anna was asleep in the armchair, her head resting on the arm of the furniture. She looked like a tired child after a hard day. Her face was relaxed, without fear, without sadness. I grabbed an old blanket and covered her carefully. It was the first time in 4 years that I'd taken care of someone besides myself. It was the first time I'd felt useful again. I sat in the chair across from her and watched her sleep. Outside, the night came slowly, bringing the song of the crickets and the smell of dew. The house wasn't empty anymore. There was someone breathing in there, dreaming, living. For a moment I felt something I'd forgotten what it was like. I felt like I had a purpose again. Anna didn't say anything, but her look changed. It softened, more understanding. Pain recognizes pain. Loneliness recognizes loneliness. "Sit down there in the armchair," I said. "I'll make some coffee and heat up some food." In the kitchen, while I messed with the stove, My head was working. That girl had appeared in my life like rain in the middle of a drought, not by chance. Life doesn't do anything by chance. Maybe she needed me, or maybe I needed her, or maybe both needed each other. The coffee was ready. The good smell filled the whole house. It had been a long time since I'd smelled coffee mixed with hope. I went back to the living room with the cup in my hand. Anna was asleep in the armchair, her head resting on the arm of the furniture. She looked like a tired child after a hard day. Her face was relaxed, without fear, without sadness. I grabbed an old blanket and covered her carefully. It was the first time in 4 years that I'd taken care of someone besides myself. It was the first time I'd felt useful again. I sat in the chair across from her and watched her sleep. Outside, the night came slowly, bringing the song of the crickets and the smell of dew. The house wasn't empty anymore. There was someone breathing in there, dreaming, living. Chapter 2. The first night Anna woke up when I was making dinner. The sound of the spoon on the pot must have stirred her from her sleep. I saw her move in the armchair, confused, trying to remember where she was. When she saw me in the kitchen, relief came over her face. "What time is it?" she asked, her voice still hoarse from sleep. "Past 8, I answered, stirring the beans. "You slept about 5 hours. You really needed it." She got up slowly, stretching her arms. Her blue dress was even more wrinkled, but she didn't seem to care. She walked over to the window and looked outside. Night had fallen, dark and full of stars. "They might be looking for me," she said softly, more to herself than to me. "They won't get here," I said, turning off the stove. "My place is far from the main road, and if they do come, they'll have to go through me first." Anna turned to look at me. It was the first time she'd really seen me without fear, without rushing. A man in his late 50s, graying hair, unshaven, hands calloused from hard work. Nothing special, just another country farmer. But something in the way I said it must have convinced her, because her shoulders relaxed. "You don't even know me," she said. "Why are you helping me?" I stopped stirring the food to think about the answer. Why, indeed? It was more than just pity. It was more than just doing the right thing. It was like something inside me had woken up when I saw her there, alone, scared. "Sometimes you meet people when they need it most," I said, "and sometimes you need to meet those people too." Anna was quiet, thinking about what I said. Then she nodded, as if she understood. "Come eat," I called, putting the plates on the table. Beans and rice, pot roast, and cornbread. Simple food, but it fills you up. She approached slowly, still a little wary. She sat in the chair I indicated, the same one where Mary used to sit. For a moment I felt a pang in my chest, but it passed quickly. Anna wasn't Mary. Anna was Anna, with her own story, her own pain. We ate in silence at first. Anna was very hungry. She ate twice as much as I did. Between bites, she looked out the window, checking to see if anyone was coming. The fear was still there, stuck to her like a tick. "Can I ask where you're from?" I said, trying to get her to relax a little. "Oklahoma City," she replied without stopping eating. "I lived with my aunt. She passed away last month. There was no one left there for me." "And where were you going?" Anna stopped eating and looked at me. Her eyes filled with tears, but she held them back. "To Dallas. A friend of my aunt's said she had a job in a family's house, cleaning, cooking, things like that. I caught the bus in Oklahoma City, but it broke down halfway there. The driver said it would take a while to fix, so I decided to walk to Tulsa. It was only about 6 miles. That's when they saw me." Her story squeezed my heart. A girl alone in the world, without family, without money, trying to make it however she could. And she still had to go through that scare on the road. Life is sometimes too cruel to those who don't deserve it. "How old are you?" I asked. 22. "You probably think I'm a kid, but I'm not. I've been through a lot in my life." Looking at her closely, you could see it. There were marks on her face that only those who have suffered early have. A hardness in her eyes that didn't match her age. Anna had grown up before her time. "What did the men who were chasing you look like?" I asked, knowing it was a difficult subject, but I needed to know. Anna stopped eating again. Her hands started to tremble slightly. She took a deep breath before answering. 3 men in an old blue pickup truck. The driver was older, about 40, bald with a scar on his forehead. The other 2 were younger, one tall and skinny, the other short and fat. She paused. They stopped next to me, and the bald one said it would be better if I got in the truck, that the road was dangerous for a girl alone. I thanked him, but I said I was almost to Tulsa. Then they got out of the truck. Her voice faltered. I could see it was costing her a lot to tell that. "You don't have to continue now if you don't want to," I said. "No, I need to tell you. You need to know what kind of people might show up around here." Anna wiped her eyes and continued. "The bald guy said I didn't have a choice, that I was to get in the truck willingly or they'd make me get in by force. I ran as fast as I could. I heard them shouting after me. I heard the sound of the truck trying to follow me, but I went into the thick woods where a car can't go. I stayed hidden until they left, or at least until I didn't hear any more noise. I got up from the table and went to the window. I looked outside, checking to see if there was any strange movement. Only darkness and the sound of crickets. But even so, something inside me was on alert. Men like that don't give up easily. "Anna, I need you to answer something honestly," I said, returning to the table. "Do you think they might have followed you here?" She thought for a moment before answering. "I don't know. When I left the hiding place, it was already getting dark. I walked a long time before reaching the place where you found me. I tried to confuse the trail, going through the creek, stepping on stones. My aunt taught me that when I was little. She said you had to know how to hide from bad men. Her aunt was smart. But 3 men in a pickup truck, knowing the area, could be even smarter. I'm going to lock everything up tight tonight," I said. "And tomorrow, we'll think about what to do." "Tomorrow I'm leaving," Anna said quickly. "I don't want to bring trouble to you. You're not going anywhere while those men are loose out there. At least not alone." Anna looked at me with that face of someone who isn't used to people worrying about her. "Why are you doing this?" she asked again. I sat back down in the chair and looked at her. A pretty girl with dark eyes, black hair that shone in the light of the lamp. But it wasn't the beauty that touched me. It was the courage. It was the strength she had, even after everything she'd been through. It was the way she didn't give up, even though she was alone in the world. "You know, Anna, it's been 4 years since I've lived alone here. 4 years that I wake up every day without knowing why I'm waking up. My wife passed, and she took all the joy of this house with her. I kept living, but I wasn't really alive. I was just existing, like a plant without water, withering slowly. Today, when I found you there in the woods, it was like something inside me started working again. Like I remembered that I can still be useful to someone." Anna was quiet, looking at me with an expression I couldn't define. After a while, she said, "My aunt always said that God puts people in our path at the right time. When she passed, I thought he had forgotten about me. But today, when you showed up, we didn't finish the conversation. We didn't need to. We both knew that that meeting hadn't been by chance. After dinner, I showed Anna where the bathroom was, gave her a clean shirt of mine to sleep in. It was too big, but it was better than the dirty dress. I made up the bed in the guest room, which I hadn't used in years. I changed the sheets, fluffed the pillow, left everything smelling good and clean. "You can sleep peacefully," I said at the door of the room. "Anything, just call me. I'll be in the living room listening." "Aren't you going to sleep in your bed?" "Not tonight. I'm going to stand guard." Anna nodded. She understood that it wasn't out of distrust of her, but out of protection. "John Batista," she called me when I was already leaving. "Yes? Thank you for everything." I closed the door slowly and went back to the living room. I turned off the lights, but I left the lamp burning low. I sat in the armchair with the 12-gauge shotgun in my lap. It had been years since I'd held it, but I still knew how to use it. The night was long. Every noise outside made me alert. The wind on the roof, a tree branch hitting the window, the moo of a cow in the pasture. Everything could be the three men arriving. But the hours passed, and nothing happened. Around 4 in the morning, I heard Anna moving in the room, crying softly. I got up slowly and went to the door. I put my ear to the wood. She was having a nightmare, talking in her sleep. "No, please, let me go. I didn't do anything." I knocked lightly on the door. "Anna, you all right?" The crying stopped immediately. After a few seconds, she answered, "Sorry, did I wake you?" "I was already awake anyway. You want to talk for a bit?" "Maybe." I opened the door slowly. Anna was sitting on the bed, hugging her knees. My shirt was huge on her, looking like a long dress. Her hair was messy, her face wet with tears. "Nightmare?" I asked, staying at the door. "Yeah, I dreamt they found me, that they took me away and you couldn't save me." I entered the room and sat on the edge of the bed, keeping my distance so she wouldn't get scared. "It was just a dream, Anna. They won't find you here." I'm afraid to sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I see the face of that bald man. I see him saying that I didn't have a choice. Fear is normal after what you've been through, but you can't let fear control your life. You have to be stronger than it. Anna looked at me with admiration. "How can you be so strong? You lost your wife, you live alone, and you're still helping me." "I'm not strong, Anna. I was weak. I was letting sadness kill me slowly. Today, taking care of you, I remembered that I still have strength for other things besides suffering." We stayed up talking until the sun rose. Anna told me about life with her aunt, about the difficulties they went through, about the plans she had to find work in the capital. I told her about my life with Mary, about how hard it was when she passed, about how the days had all become the same after that. When day broke, Anna was calmer. The fear was still there, but it wasn't alone anymore. It was mixed with something new, hope. And I felt something new too. After sleeping inside for so long, I was waking up again. The rooster crowed, and I was already on my feet. I hadn't slept almost at all, but I felt more awake than I had in the last 4 years. Anna was still asleep in the guest room. After our conversation, she managed to fall asleep and was resting like a tired child. I went to the kitchen to make coffee. The strong smell filled the whole house. It was good to have the smell of coffee mixed with the smell of people in the house again. It had been a long time since I'd felt that the house was alive. While the coffee brewed, I went out to the yard to check on the animals. The day was dawning beautiful, without a cloud in the sky, but the heat promised to get intense early. The chickens scratched on the ground, the cows mooed in the pasture asking for food. Everything normal, everything in its place, but something bothered me. I didn't know what it was. A bad feeling, like when it's going to rain, and you feel it in your bones before you see the cloud. I went back to the house, and Anna was already awake, sitting at the kitchen table. She had combed her hair and washed her face. My shirt was still huge on her, but she looked more rested. "Morning," I said, serving coffee for both of us. "Morning. Did you sleep well?" she asked, knowing that I had spent the night watching. "Slept great," I lied, so as not to worry her. Anna smiled slightly. She knew I was lying, but didn't insist on the subject. We drank coffee talking about silly things. The weather, the animals, the food. Small talk just to fill the silence. After coffee, Anna wanted to help with the housework. She washed the dishes, swept the floor, organized the living room. She had a knack for housework, did everything carefully and skillfully. I watched her work, and for a moment I forgot the problems. It was good to see the house being taken care of again. "Anna," I called when she was hanging the clothes on the line. "I need to go to town today. Buy some things, see if I can get news about those men." She stopped hanging the clothes and looked at me with concern. "I'll go with you." "No, it's dangerous. If they're looking for you, it's better to stay hidden here. And if they show up here while you're gone?" I thought about what she said. It made sense. Leaving her alone was also dangerous. Then I'll leave you at my neighbor's house, Mr. Peterson. He lives about 2 miles from here. He's a good guy, trustworthy. You stay there until I get back." Anna didn't like the idea, but she understood that it was best for everyone. At 9 o'clock, we left riding on Wind. Anna was on the pillion, holding onto my waist. The way to Mr. Peterson's house went through the pasture, far from the main road, safer. Halfway there, I stopped the mare suddenly. Something had caught my attention. A different sound, coming from far away. Car engine, climbing the hill in the direction of my house. "What is it?" Anna asked softly. "Quiet, I'll listen better." We got off the mare and hid behind a large termite mound. The sound of the engine became clearer. It was a pickup truck from the deep sound of the engine, and it was coming slowly, like someone looking for something. "It's them," Anna whispered, her voice trembling with fear. "We don't know yet. It could be anyone." But deep down, I knew she was right. My instinct as a countryman doesn't usually err, and it was screaming danger. The sound of the truck stopped near where my house was. We stayed there hidden, without moving, just listening. After about 5 minutes, we heard men's voices shouting, "Hello? Anyone home?" Anna grabbed my arm tightly. Her eyes were wide with fear. I put my finger to my lips, telling her to be quiet. John Batista! We just want to talk," another voice shouted. They knew my name. How did they know my name? Someone must have told them in town. "There's no shortage of gossips in the country. We know you're hiding the girl. There's no use pretending you're not home," a third voice yelled. Anna was almost fainting with fear. I held her firm, trying to convey a calm I wasn't feeling. "Listen here, John," the first man shouted again. It must have been the bald guy Anna had described. "That girl isn't anything to you. She did something really bad to us, and now she has to pay. If you hand her over, we'll leave and never come back. If you don't hand her over, we're going to have to take her by force." What bad thing could Anna have done? She was just a girl trying to get to Dallas to work. These men were making up an excuse for what they wanted to do. The shouting continued for about 10 more minutes. They cursed, threatened, promised to return. Then we heard the truck engine starting and driving away. But we didn't leave the hiding place yet. It could be a trick. We only came out from behind the termite mound an hour later, when we were sure they were really gone. Anna was pale as paper, shaking from head to toe. "They know your name," she said, her voice almost gone. "They know where you live. I've brought trouble into your life. You haven't brought any trouble. Those men are the trouble. I have to leave, right now. I can't stay here another day." "And where are you going to go? You don't have any money, you don't know anyone." "They'll get you on the first day." Anna started to cry. It wasn't the cry of a spoiled child. It was the cry of someone who's lost in the world, without a way out, without hope. "Then I'm just going to die," she sobbed. "They're never going to give up." I held her by the shoulders, forcing her to look me in the eyes. "Listen carefully to what I'm going to say, Anna. No one is going to die here, and no one is going to be caught by those scumbags. I won't let it happen." "How can you be so sure?" "Because I already lost someone important once in my life. I'm not going to let it happen again." Anna stopped crying and looked at me with a new expression. It was gratitude mixed with something I couldn't define, something like affection. "What are we going to do?" she asked. "First, we're going to Mr. Peterson's house. You stay there safe, while I sort this situation out." "And how are you going to sort it out?" I didn't answer because I didn't know yet. But one thing I was sure of, I wasn't going to hand Anna over to those men, not even if it cost me my life. We arrived at Mr. Peterson's house at noon sharp. He was on the porch, repairing an old harness. A man of about 60, thin, weathered by the sun. I'd known him for 20 years since I moved to the area. "John Batista," he called, getting up from the chair. "What miracle is this? It's been a while since you've been around here. Peterson, I need a favor from you. A big favor." I explained the situation to him without going into too much detail. I just said that Anna was being chased by some dangerous men and needed to stay hidden for a few days. Mr. Peterson didn't ask any questions. Country people are like that. When a neighbor asks for help, they help. They don't ask why. Of course she can stay, he said to Anna. My house is your house. My wife, Mrs. Peterson, will like the company. Anna thanked him with tears in her eyes. She was so used to rejection that she didn't expect kindness from strangers. Now I'm going to town, I said. I'm going to try to find out who these men are, what they really want. John, Mr. Peterson called me aside. If these men are really dangerous, you shouldn't go to town alone. They might be waiting for you there. Maybe, but I don't have a choice. I need to know who I'm dealing with. Then take this, he said, handing me a .38 revolver. And be careful. Anna seems like a good girl. Don't let those scumbags get her. I put the revolver in my waistband under my shirt. It had been years since I'd carried a gun, but times had changed. When it was time to leave, Anna came to talk to me. John Batista, she said, pulling me away from the others. If anything happens to you because of me, I'll never forgive myself. Nothing's going to happen. I'm just going to take a look around town and be back before night. Promise? I promise. Anna hugged me suddenly, a quick but tight hug. A hug from someone who's afraid of losing the only person who cares about her in the world. Thank you, she whispered in my ear. For everything. I climbed on Wind and headed to town. On the way, my head didn't stop working. Who were those men? Why were they after Anna with such insistence? And how had they found out where I lived? One thing I knew, I wasn't going to rest until I found out the truth. Anna had appeared in my life for me to take care of her. And that's what I was going to do, whatever it cost. The road to town was dusty and full of potholes. The sun beat down on the back of my neck, but I didn't even feel the heat. My head was focused on one thing only: protecting Anna. It was the first time in 4 years that I had a clear purpose in life, and no one at all, was going to take that away from me. When I got to town, it was already mid-afternoon. I tied Wind in the shade and started looking for information. First place I went, the gas station at the entrance to town. There were always people talking there, gossiping about everything that happened in the area. Zay, I called the owner of the gas station. Did a blue pickup truck pass through here today? 3 men inside? Zay stopped wiping his hands on the rag and looked at me suspiciously. Why do you want to know? They stopped at my house earlier today asking about a girl. I thought it was strange. Oh yeah, they passed here around 10 o'clock. Stopped to fill up. They asked about the house of John Batista, who lives on the old road farm. I told them where it was. My blood ran cold. Zay had given my house away to those men without even knowing who they were. Did they say anything else? The bald guy said you were childhood friends, that he wanted to give you a surprise. They seemed like good people. Good people. If Zay knew the truth, he wouldn't have told them where I lived. But it was done. Now I had to deal with the consequences. Did they say where they were from? Where they were going? The bald guy said they were from Oklahoma City, that they were visiting some relatives in the area. Oklahoma City, big city, close to Tulsa. Place where it was easy to hide, hard to find someone. But at least now I had a lead. I left the gas station and went to the police station. Maybe I could file a police report, register the threat. But when I got there, the police station was closed. It only opened from Monday to Friday. And today was Saturday. I tried to talk to the sheriff at his house, but his wife said he had traveled to the capital and wouldn't be back until Tuesday. Country life is like that. When you need the authorities, they're never available. I spent the rest of the afternoon talking to acquaintances in town, trying to find out something more about the 3 men. But nobody knew anything. They had appeared out of nowhere, asked about my house, and disappeared again. When the sun began to set, I returned to Mr. Peterson's house. Anna was in the kitchen, helping Mrs. Peterson make dinner. When she saw me arrive, the relief on her face was so great that it moved me. "Did you find out anything?" she asked, coming to talk to me in the yard. I told her what I had discovered in town. Anna became thoughtful when I spoke of Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City, she repeated. My aunt knew people from there. She said it was a place of shameless people who did any dirty business for money. What kind of dirty business? Anna hesitated before answering. Human trafficking, especially young girls. They took them from the country and took them to the big city to work in bad places. Now everything made sense. Anna wasn't just a girl they had tried to rob on the road. She was merchandise, a product that was worth money in the big city. And they weren't going to give up easily on a product like that. Anna, I said, holding her by the shoulders, are you sure you want to tell me everything? You're not hiding anything? I'm not hiding anything, she answered, looking straight into my eyes. I'm just an orphaned girl trying to find honest work. Those men saw an opportunity and tried to take me, that's all. I believed her. Anna had clear eyes, a sincere voice. She wasn't lying. Then we have to think of a plan, I said. Because they're going to come back, I'm sure of it. What kind of plan? I looked at the darkening sky, full of stars beginning to appear. The night was going to be long, and the next day promised to be even more difficult. I don't know yet, but I'm going to think of something. There's always a way out. Anna nodded, trusting me. This trust gave me strength, but it also scared me. What if I couldn't protect her? What if those men's plans were bigger than I imagined? One thing I knew, I couldn't let fear paralyze me. Anna needed me strong, courageous, determined. And that's how I was going to be, even if inside I was dying of fear too. I slept badly at Mr. Peterson's house. The sofa in the living room was uncomfortable, but that wasn't what kept me awake. It was the worry. Anna was in the guest room, but I heard her turning in bed all night. Mrs. Peterson had given her a calming tea, but the fear was stronger than any medicine. Sunday dawned cloudy. Heavy clouds covered the sky, dark as a bad omen. The wind blew differently, bringing the smell of rain. After months of drought, it was going to rain. It was good for the land, but bad for our plans. Rain complicated everything. Mr. Peterson was in the yard taking care of the pigs when I got up. John, he called softly, so as not to wake the women. Last night, after you went to sleep, I saw some headlights passing on the road, too slow, like they were looking for something. I felt a chill in my stomach. They had returned. They were prowling the area, looking for Anna. What time was it? About 2 in the morning. They passed twice. Once going, another returning. Did you see the car? It was too dark, but from the sound of the engine it seemed like a pickup truck. Anna appeared at the kitchen door at that moment. She hadn't slept much, her eyes were swollen, but she was dressed in clothes that Mrs. Peterson had lent her, a brown skirt and a white blouse. She looked more like a country girl now. "Morning," she said softly. "Morning, dear," Mr. Peterson replied. "Did you sleep well?" So. Mrs. Peterson appeared behind her, carrying a tray with breakfast. "Come eat," she called. "I made homemade bread, fresh cheese, good food to give you strength." We sat at the table on the porch to have breakfast. Anna ate little, only nibbled on the bread. The worry had taken away her hunger. "Anna," I said softly, "I need to ask you something. Are you sure you've never seen these men before? Don't you remember anything that might have drawn their attention to you?" Anna stopped stirring her coffee and thought. "No, I never saw them before that day on the road." But what? When I was in Oklahoma City, in the week that my aunt passed, a neighbor mentioned that there were some strange men asking about young girls in the city, saying they had good work in Dallas, that they paid well. Some girls disappeared after that. My blood ran cold. They hadn't chosen Anna by chance. They had investigated, planned. They knew she was alone in the world, without family to miss her. Why didn't you tell me this before? Because I didn't think it was connected. I thought it was just bad luck that they found me on the road. It wasn't bad luck, Anna. It was a trap. They knew you were going to take that road to Dallas. Her face became even paler. The truth was hurting, but she needed to know. How did they know? Someone in Oklahoma City must have told them. It could have been for money. It could have been out of naivety. But someone gave you away. Anna started to cry softly. It wasn't just fear now, it was betrayal. The feeling that she couldn't trust anyone in the world. Easy, dear, Mrs. Peterson said, putting her hand on her shoulder. You're safe here. We won't let anything happen. But I knew that being safe was an illusion. Sooner or later, the men were going to find out where Anna was hidden, and when they found out, they weren't going to have mercy on anyone. After breakfast, I called Mr. Peterson to talk alone. Peterson, I said, when we were out of earshot of the women. The situation is worse than I thought. These men aren't common thugs. They're traffickers, and they're not going to give up. What do you want to do? I need to take Anna far away from here, to a place where they can't find her. Where? I don't know yet, but I can't leave her here. You could get hurt because of this. Mr. Peterson shook his head. John, you're welcome here for as long as you need. I'm not going to abandon you now. I know, Peterson, but these men are dangerous. They could hurt you and Mrs. Peterson. Let me worry about that. You worry about protecting the girl. The conversation was interrupted by a noise in the distance. Car engine climbing the hill. We both tensed at the moment. It could be anyone, Mr. Peterson said, but his voice was worried. I'll take a look, I said, grabbing the binoculars he kept on the porch. I climbed onto the roof of the house and looked in the direction of the road. It was a blue pickup truck, old, climbing slowly. My heart pounded. It's them, I shouted softly to Mr. Peterson. Get the women inside, quick! I ran down from the roof. Mr. Peterson was already taking Mrs. Peterson and Anna to the back room. Stay quiet, he said. Don't make any noise. The truck stopped at the front gate. 3 men got out. Even from a distance, you could see that they were the same ones Anna had described. The bald guy, the tall and skinny one, the short and fat one. Peterson, I called softly. Where's your shotgun? In the closet in the room. I'll get it. No, leave it to me. You stay with the women. If there's trouble, take them out the back door and run for the woods. I grabbed the revolver that Mr. Peterson had lent me and went to the porch. The 3 men were walking towards the house. The bald guy was coming in front, smiling. A smile that didn't reach his eyes. Morning, he shouted when he got close. Are you Peterson? I am, I replied, trying to appear calm. How can I help you? We're looking for a girl, black hair, about 20 years old. Did she pass by here yesterday? No one passed by here yesterday. Just my neighbors and folks I know. The bald guy kept smiling, but his eyes hardened. You know John Batista? Farmer who lives around here? I do. Why? He's hiding something that belongs to us. If you know where he is, you better tell us. I don't know where he is. Haven't seen John Batista in a while. The tall, skinny man stepped forward. Can I take a look around the house, just to be sure? You can't. My wife's sick. She can't have visitors. The 3 of them looked at each other. They were suspicious, but they weren't sure of anything. Look here, Peterson, the bald guy said, getting closer. We don't want trouble with anyone. We just want our merchandise back. If you cooperate, everyone wins. If you don't cooperate... He didn't finish the sentence, but the threat was clear. I don't know about any merchandise, I said, my right hand close to the revolver. You sure about that? The wind began to blow harder. The first drops of rain splattered on the ground. The storm was coming. Absolutely. The bald guy looked at me for a few long seconds. Then he signaled to the other 2. Let's go for now. Before leaving, he turned to me again. If we find out you're lying, we'll be back. And then there won't be any talking. The 3 of them went back to the truck and drove away. I waited for them to disappear down the road before calling Mr. Peterson and the women. They're gone, I said. But they'll be back. I'm sure of it. Anna came out of the room trembling like a leaf. They know I'm here, she said. They don't. They're suspicious, but they're not sure. What now? I looked at the heavy sky. The rain was starting for real, thick, noisy. Now we have to get out of here, today. Where to? I have a cousin in Little Rock, retired state trooper. If we can get there, he can help us. Little Rock is far. Mr. Peterson said. "About 4 hours on the highway. With this rain, it'll be dangerous. More dangerous than staying here." The rain was getting heavier. The wind shook the trees, making the sound of a fierce storm. But the storm could also be our ally. With rain like this, it would be hard for the men to follow us. "Peterson," I said, "do you have a car that works in the rain?" "I have the old Jeep. It's a little beat up, but it runs. Can I borrow it?" "Sure." "But John, are you sure this is the best thing to do? Traveling in a storm like this is dangerous." "More dangerous than waiting for those men to come back," Anna approached me. "John Batista, I don't want you to risk yourself anymore because of me. You've already done too much. Anna, listen carefully to what I'm going to say. When I found you in those woods, crying, scared, something inside me changed. It's been 4 years since I was dead inside. Taking care of you reminded me that I'm still human. I'm not going to abandon you now." Her eyes filled with tears. "Why do you care so much about me?" The question caught me by surprise. Why did I care? Anna wasn't my daughter, wasn't my wife. She was just a girl who appeared in my life by chance. Or maybe not by chance. "Because everyone deserves someone who cares," I said. "And you deserve it more than anyone." The rain was torrential now. The noise on the tin roof was deafening. Lightning lit up the dark sky. The wind howled like a wounded animal. "If we're going to leave, it has to be now," I shouted over the noise of the rain. "Before they come back." Mr. Peterson went to get the keys to the Jeep. Mrs. Peterson prepared a bag with food for the trip. Anna put on a borrowed raincoat. "I'll drive," I said to Mr. Peterson. "I know the way to Little Rock better." "Be careful with the bridges," he shouted. "With rain like this, some may be flooded." "I'll be careful." When it was time to leave, Mrs. Peterson hugged Anna. "Go with God, dear. Everything will be all right." "Thank you for everything, Mrs. Peterson. You've been an angel in my life." Mr. Peterson gave me a strong handshake. "Be careful, John, and anything, send word. I will. And thank you for everything." We climbed into the old Jeep. The engine coughed a bit before starting. Anna settled in the passenger seat, pulling the hood of the raincoat over her head. "Ready?" I asked. "Ready." I turned on the headlights and pulled out into the rain. The road was turning into mud. The wheels of the Jeep slipped, but they gained traction. We went slowly, carefully, but we went. In the rearview mirror, I saw Mr. Peterson's house disappearing into the curtain of rain. Ahead, only darkness, rain, and an uncertain road. But at least we were together. Anna and I against the world, against the storm, against the men who wanted to destroy her life. "John Batista," Anna said softly, almost whispering. "Yes, if we don't make it to Little Rock, we'll make it. But if we don't, I want you to know something. These days with you have been the best of my life. For the first time, I felt safe. For the first time, I felt that someone cared about me for real." I glanced at her. Even with the hood covering part of her face, you could see that she was crying. "Anna, let me finish. If anything happens to me, I don't want you to blame yourself. You've already done more for me than anyone has done in my whole life. You gave me hope when I didn't have any left. Nothing's going to happen to you," I said firmly. "I promise." "How can you be so sure?" "Because I won't let it." The road began to descend a steep hill. The rain was so heavy that the wipers could barely clear the windshield. I had to reduce the speed even more. That's when I saw the headlights in the rearview mirror, a yellowish light, flickering in the rain, coming after us. "Anna," I said, trying to stay calm, "don't look back, but I think we're being followed." She turned instinctively. "It's them?" "I don't know. It could be anyone." But the headlights got closer. Now you could see that it was a pickup truck. And it was coming too fast for the wet road. "It's them," Anna whispered, her voice fading with fear. I stepped on the gas. The Jeep gained speed, but the wheels began to skid in the mud. It was risky, but there was no choice. The truck was closing in. I could see it in the rearview mirror, bouncing on the potholed road, but not giving up. "Hold on tight," I shouted to Anna. The road made a sharp curve to the right. I took the curve too fast. The Jeep almost rolled over. Anna screamed, grabbing the dashboard. The truck also took the curve, but it couldn't maintain control. I saw it in the rear-view mirror, skidding, spinning on the road, almost leaving the track. "They spun out!" Anna shouted, but the joy was short-lived. The truck managed to straighten out and continued coming after us. Ahead, I saw an old wooden bridge over a creek. With the rain, the creek had turned into a river. The water was passing almost at the height of the bridge. "John Battista," Anna said, seeing the bridge. "Will that bridge hold?" "It has to hold." I accelerated towards the bridge. The Jeep entered the wooden planks, making noise. The bridge groaned, but it held the weight. We got to the other side safely. I looked in the rearview mirror to see if the truck was going to try to cross too. It stopped at the edge of the bridge. The men got out to examine the structure. The bridge was old, wet, dangerous. They didn't risk it. "They stopped," I said to Anna. "They won't be able to cross." "You sure?" "For now, yes, but they'll go around. They'll look for another way." "How much time do we have?" "Not much. An hour, maybe 2. The rain continued strong, but now I drove more calmly. We had gained time. Not much, but enough to get to Little Rock. "Anna," I said, "when we get there, my cousin will know what to do. He knows people in the police, people in the judiciary. He'll find a way to arrest those men. And if he doesn't, he will. He has to." Anna was quiet, watching the rain hit the windshield. After a while, she said, "John Battista, can I ask you a personal question?" "Sure. What was your wife like?" The question caught me off guard. It had been a while since anyone had asked about Mary. Mary was special, cheerful, brave, kind. She laughed at any nonsense, sang while she cooked, took care of everyone as if they were family. "Were you happy?" "Very. 20 years married, 20 years happy. When she passed, I thought my life had ended too. And now?" I looked at Anna. Even scared, even in danger, she worried about me. She wanted to know if I was okay, if I was overcoming the pain. Now I know that life goes on, that there's always a reason to keep going. Sometimes that reason appears when you least expect it. Anna smiled for the first time since we left Mr. Peterson's house. Mary must have been very special indeed. She was, just like you. Her smile grew bigger. And for a moment, even in the middle of the storm, even running from dangerous men, I felt at peace. I felt that I was in the right place, doing the right thing, with the right person by my side. We arrived in Little Rock when the clock on the square struck 10 o'clock at night. The rain had stopped, but the streets were still flooded. The Jeep crossed the puddles slowly, making the sound of splashing water. My cousin Valdesi lived in a simple house on the outskirts of the city. When we pulled up in front, all the lights were off. I rang the bell several times before hearing movement inside. "Who is it?" came his voice from inside. "It's me, Valdesi, John Battista." The door opened slowly. Valdesi appeared in shorts and a t-shirt, his grey hair disheveled, 55 years old, still strong as a bull, even retired from the police. "John, what miracle is this?" he said, but he soon saw that something was wrong. "Come in, quick." We entered the simple living room. Valdesi turned on the light and looked at Anna with curiosity. "Valdesi, this is Anna. Anna, my cousin Valdesi." Anna greeted softly. She was tired, scared, wet from the rain. "Sit down there, girl," Valdesi said to her. "I'll make some coffee. You look like you've been through the ringer." In the kitchen, while Valdesi messed with the stove, I told him the whole story, from the day I found Anna in the woods to the escape in the rain. He listened to everything without interrupting, making a face like he was digesting heavy information. "3 men from Oklahoma City," he repeated when I finished. "Old blue pickup truck, bald guy with a scar on his forehead. You know them?" "I might. There's a gang that operates in the area like that. Grabs girls in the country and takes them to the big city. For forced prostitution, mainly." I felt my blood boil. It was what I imagined, but hearing confirmation made everything more real. more terrible. How does this scheme work? They have informants in several small towns, people who keep an eye on the girls who are alone, orphans mainly. Then they do the dirty work. And the police don't do anything? Valdesi sighed deeply before answering. John, these gangs have protection. They pay bribes to important people. It's hard to catch them, but not impossible. No, not impossible, but dangerous. Very dangerous. We returned to the living room with the coffee. Anna was huddled on the sofa, hugging her legs. When she saw us, she tried to smile, but she couldn't. "How are you, girl?" Valdesi asked, sitting in the armchair across from her. "Scared," she answered sincerely. "Afraid of what's going to happen to me." "Nothing bad is going to happen," he said firmly. "While you're here, you're safe. And after?" Valdesi looked at me before answering. "We'll see after. First you need to rest, recover. We'll talk better tomorrow." Anna drank the coffee in silence. She was exhausted. She needed to sleep. Valdesi made up the guest room for her with clean, dry bedding. "Sleep peacefully," he said at the door of the room. "Nothing's going to happen while I'm awake." Anna thanked and retired. Valdesi and I stayed in the living room, talking quietly so as not to disturb her sleep. "John," he began, "I need to tell you something. This story is more complicated than you imagine." "How so?" "These men who are after Anna aren't common thugs. They're part of a big organization. If they want her back, it's because she's worth a lot of money to them. Anna is just an orphaned girl. What can be worth so much?" Valdesi was quiet for a few seconds, as if he was deciding whether he should speak or not. "John, young, pretty girls, without family, are worth a lot of money in the right market, especially if they are untouched." I understood what he meant. I felt like punching something. What kind of people do something like that? People without a soul. People who see people as merchandise. And what can we do? Few options. You can try to run far away, start a new life in another state. You can try to make a deal with them, or you can face them and try to end this once and for all. What kind of deal? Pay them to leave her alone. The idea of paying money to those worms revolted me. I'm not going to give those scumbags a dime. Then it's up to you to run or face them. Face them how? Valdesi got up and went to an old closet. He took out a thick folder full of papers. "All these years working in the police, I've gathered information about several gangs, including this one that's after Anna. I know who they are, where they operate, how they work. And why haven't you done anything?" "Because I couldn't do it alone. I'd need support, trustworthy people. And in the police here, I don't know who to trust." He flipped through the folder until he found a photo. It was an old photo, faded, but you could recognize it. The bald man with a scar on his forehead. This one is called Renato Silva, known as Baldy. He's the head of the gang. The other two are his henchmen. Where do they hide? They have a ranch on the outskirts of Oklahoma City, isolated place, fenced with a guardhouse. Hard to get close without being seen, but not impossible. Valdesi looked at me seriously. "John, you're not thinking of doing something stupid, are you?" "I'm thinking of protecting Anna. Anyway, listen carefully to what I'm going to say. If you go after these men, you may be able to catch them. But they may also catch you first. And then who's going to take care of the girl?" It was true. If something happened to me, Anna would be alone again. I couldn't risk myself on impulse. "Then what do you suggest?" "I'm going to talk to some contacts of mine in Washington, D.C. There are people at the FBI who are investigating human trafficking. Maybe we can file an official complaint. And in the meantime, you stay here, hidden, safe. For how long?" "As long as necessary." Valdesi put the folder back in the closet. He was tired too, he needed to sleep. "John, you take the sofa there. We'll talk more tomorrow." "Thanks, cuz, for everything." "No need to thank me. That's what family's for." Valdesi went to sleep. I was alone in the living room, thinking about everything that had happened. 3 days ago, I was just a lonely widower taking care of cattle. Now I was involved with dangerous traffickers, protecting a girl I barely knew, but I didn't regret it. Anna had brought purpose back into my life. She had made me remember that I could still be useful, that I could still make a difference in the world. I slept little and badly. I woke up several times during the night, thinking I heard the sound of an engine on the street, but it was just paranoia. The night passed quietly. Monday dawned clear and cold. The rain had cleaned the air, left everything smelling fresh. Anna woke up late, more rested. We had breakfast together in the kitchen, talking about silly things. It was good to pretend that we were a normal family, at least for a few minutes. Valdesi left early for Washington, D.C. He was going to talk to his contacts at the FBI. He promised to be back by the end of the afternoon with news. Anna and I were alone in the house. She helped with the housework, cooked, organized. I fixed some things that were broken. We tried to maintain normalcy, but the worry was always there, like a shadow that doesn't leave. At noon, Anna was making lunch when she called me to the kitchen. "John Batista, can I ask you something?" "Sure." "What's going to become of me when this is all over?" The question caught me off guard. I was so focused on protecting her that I hadn't thought about the future. "What do you mean?" "Let's say the police arrest these men. Let's say I'm free from danger. Then what? Where am I going to go? What am I going to do with my life?" It was a difficult question. Anna had no family, no money, no place to return to. "We'll think of something. There's always a way out." "But what way out? I don't have anything, John Batista. Nothing at all. I don't even have proper ID." She was right. Even if she got rid of the traffickers, Anna would continue alone in the world. "Anna, listen to what I'm going to say. As long as I have a roof, you have one too. As long as I have food, you eat too. I'm not going to abandon you." Her eyes filled with tears. "Why are you so good to me?" "Because everyone deserves to have someone. And because you deserve it more than anyone." Anna came to me and gave me a hug from a daughter thanking her father, from a lost person thanking the one who found her. "Thank you," she whispered, "for making me feel that I'm not alone in the world." "You're never going to be alone again," I promised. "I guarantee that." Lunch was ready when we heard the sound of a car stopping in front of the house. Anna tensed up at the time. "It must be Valdesi coming back," I said, but my voice didn't sound very convincing. I went to the living room window and peeked through the curtain. It wasn't Valdesi, it was a police car. 2 uniformed men got out and walked towards the house. "Anna," I called softly, "go to the back room, quick." "Who is it?" "Police." "It may be nothing, but go to the room anyway." Anna obeyed. I went to answer the door, trying to appear calm. "Good afternoon," I said when I opened the door. "Good afternoon," replied the older policeman, a sergeant by the stripes on his uniform. "Are you John Batista?" My blood ran cold. They knew my name. "I am. How can I help you?" "We need to talk to you about a report we received." "What kind of report?" "Kidnapping. A 22-year-old girl named Anna. They said you're keeping her against her will." I felt the ground disappear from under my feet. The traffickers had managed to turn the game around. Now I was the bad guy in the story. "Can I see the report?" The sergeant showed me an official paper. It was all there. My name, my description, even the address of my farm. The report said that I had kidnapped Anna on the road between Oklahoma City and Tulsa and was keeping her captive. "Who made this report?" I asked. "We can't reveal the identity of the informant, but it seems like there are people concerned about the girl's well-being. Concerned people, the same scumbags who wanted to sell Anna as a sex slave. Sergeant, this report is false. I saved this girl from traffickers. I'm protecting her." "Then she's here." I hesitated. If I said yes, they could take Anna. If I said no, they could search the house. "She's here, yes, but of her own free will. She can confirm that." "Then let's talk to her." There was no choice. I called Anna from the room. She appeared pale, nervous, but trying to disguise it. "This is Anna," I said to the police officers. "Miss," the sergeant said to her, "we received a report that you are being held here against your will. Is it true?" Anna looked at me before answering. I saw in her eyes that she knew the importance of that moment. "It's not true," she said in a firm voice. "John Batista saved me from men who wanted to harm me. I'm here because I want to be." "Are you sure? Aren't you being forced to say that?" "I'm absolutely sure. If it wasn't for him, I'd be dead or worse." The sergeant and the other policemen looked at each other. They were in doubt about what to do. "Miss Anna," the sergeant continued, "the report says that you were kidnapped on the road between Oklahoma City and Tulsa. Can you tell us what happened that day?" Anna took a deep breath and told the whole story. The 3 men in the truck, the attempted kidnapping, the escape through the woods, how I found her. She spoke with details, with emotion, convincingly. "And these 3 men," the younger policeman asked, "what did they look like?" Anna described the men perfectly. The bald guy with the scar, the tall and skinny one, the short and fat one, the old blue truck. "Sergeant," I said, "these men are part of a human trafficking gang. My cousin, who is a retired policeman, has information about them." "Your cousin?" "Valdesi Ferreira, worked 30 years in the state troopers here. He's in Washington, D.C. today, talking to the FBI about the case." Valdesi's name made a difference. The sergeant knew him, respected him. "Valdesi is your cousin?" "He is. And he can confirm everything I'm saying." The police officers talked among themselves for a few minutes. Then the sergeant spoke to us again. "We're going to wait for Valdesi to come back to clarify the situation better. For now, you can stay here, but don't leave town without warning." "We won't leave," I promised. "And Miss Anna, if at any time you feel threatened or forced to do something, just go to the police station." "Okay," Anna replied. The police officers left. Anna and I stayed in the living room, still tense with what had happened. "They almost believed the report," Anna said. "Almost. But you did well. You spoke at the right time in the right way." "What now?" "Now we wait for Valdesi to come back. And we hope he's managed to get something in Washington, D.C. Anna sat on the sofa, emotionally tired. "John Batista, these people never give up, do they?" "It seems not. But we're not going to give up either. And if they manage to catch me in the end..." I looked at her, at that courageous girl who had faced so many difficulties in her short life. I couldn't lie. I couldn't give empty hopes. "If they manage to, at least you'll know that someone tried. That someone cared, that someone believed that you deserved to be protected." Anna smiled through the tears. "It's already worth it for that." The rest of the afternoon passed slowly. Valdesi arrived at 6 o'clock, with a face that didn't bring good news. "Did you get anything?" I asked before he even came in. "I got and I didn't get," he replied. "Tired." "How so?" "I talked to an FBI agent who investigates human trafficking. He knows this gang, knows that they operate in the area, but he said it's hard to arrest them without concrete evidence." "What kind of evidence?" "Caught in the act. Victim who agrees to testify. That kind of thing." "Anna can testify." "She can. But it's her word against theirs, and they already anticipated, made a report against you." I told Valdesi about the visit from the police officers. He shook his head, annoyed. "Smart, these scumbags. They turned the game around, made you look like the villain of the story." "What now?" Valdesi sat in the armchair, thoughtful. "The FBI agent said that if we can get more information about the gang, more evidence, he can open an official investigation. But while that doesn't happen, you have to continue hiding." "For how long?" "I don't know, John. It could be weeks. It could be months." Anna, who had been quiet until then, spoke for the first time. "I can't stay hidden my whole life. That's not life." "Then what do you suggest?" Valdesi asked. Anna was quiet for a while, thinking. When she spoke, her voice came out decisive. "I want to help arrest these men. I want them to pay for what they do to the girls. If you need proof, a witness, I'll be it." "Anna," I said, "it's too dangerous. More dangerous than spending the rest of my life running. More dangerous than living in fear forever." She was right. You couldn't always live in fear, always hiding. 1 hour, you'd have to face the problem head on. What do you have in mind? Valdesi asked. I don't know yet, but something we have to do. I can't let these men continue destroying the lives of other girls. I looked at Anna with admiration. Even after everything she had been through, she still thought of others. She still wanted to do the right thing. Anna's right, I said. We need to end this once and for all. Valdesi sighed deeply. If you're decided, then let's think of a plan. But it has to be well thought out. One chance only. If it goes wrong, you could die. And if we don't try, you could die too, Anna replied. At least trying, we have a chance to win. Night fell on Little Rock, bringing the song of the crickets and the smell of wet earth. But this time it didn't bring peace. It brought decision, determination, and the certainty that our war against the traffickers was just beginning. We spent all of Tuesday planning. Valdesi spread maps on the kitchen table, showed aerial photos of the ranch where the traffickers hid, explained their routine. They leave every Thursday morning, he said, pointing to a road on the map. They go to Oklahoma City to pick up new merchandise. They only come back on Friday night. What kind of merchandise? Anna asked, even knowing the answer. Girls, just like you, that they kidnap in the country. Anna was quiet, digesting the information. It was hard to think that other girls were going through the same terror that she went through. How many stay at the ranch when they travel? I asked. 2 or 3 men, henchmen, security personnel, and the girls who are already there. How many girls? I don't know for sure. It could be 5, it could be 10. Depends on how many they've gotten lately. The idea of 10 girls trapped on that ranch revolted me. 10 Annas suffering, being afraid, losing hope. Valdesi, I said. If we can invade the ranch on Thursday, free those girls, wouldn't that be enough proof for the FBI? It would be. But invading isn't a joke, John. The place is fenced, has an alarm, has a gun. If you go in there and get caught, we're not going to be caught. How can you be sure? I couldn't. But I also couldn't stand idly by while girls suffered. Anna, who had been quiet until then, got up from the table. I'm going too, she said in a firm voice. Anna, no, I said immediately. It's too dangerous. More dangerous than leaving them there? More dangerous than living running forever? But you don't have to risk it. I can go alone. Alone you can't. You need someone who understands how those girls feel. Someone who's been through the same thing as them. Someone they trust. Anna was right. The girls on the ranch must be terrified, distrustful of any man. But Anna they would understand. Anna they would follow. Besides, she continued, I know the faces of those 3 men. If they come back early, I'll recognize them from afar. Valdesi shook his head, annoyed. You two are crazy. Completely crazy. Crazy are we, or those who let this happen, Anna replied. Anna's right, I said. We can't wait for justice to work. We have to make our own justice. Valdesi was quiet for a few minutes, looking at the maps on the table. Then he sighed deeply. If you're decided, then let's do it right. No improvisation, no adventure. What do you suggest? First, we're going to reconnoiter the location. Thursday morning, you go there just to observe. See how many men stayed, where the girls are, how is the security. Just observe, don't do anything. And then come back here, we remake the plan with the new information. And only then do you go back there to rescue the girls. How long will that take? A week, maybe 2. It has to be perfect, with no margin for error. Anna slammed her hand on the table. A week? 2 weeks? You know what can happen to those girls in 2 weeks? I know, Valdesi replied calmly. But I also know what can happen if you get caught in there, and then it doesn't help anyone. Anna got nervous, walking from one side to the other in the kitchen. I can't wait any longer. I can't stand knowing that there are girls suffering while we're here planning. Anna, I called her, holding her shoulders. Valdesi is right. If we rush, we can ruin everything. And if we take too long, it may be too late for them. I was divided. Anna was right about the urgency, but Valdesi was right about the planning. What if we do it like this, I said. Tomorrow, Wednesday, we're going to scout the location. If everything goes well, Thursday we'll do the rescue. Valdesi didn't like the idea. Too rushed, John, too risky. Valdesi, you yourself said that they travel every Thursday. It's our best chance. If we miss this one, you'll have to wait another week. And a week can be a long time, Anna added. Valdesi looked at us both, saw that we were decided. Okay, but with conditions. You're going armed. You take a radio to keep in contact with me. And at the first sign of danger, you get out of there running. I agree, I said. Anna? Valdesi asked. I agree too. Then it's decided. Tomorrow reconnaissance, Thursday rescue. The rest of the day was spent preparing the details. Valdesi lent me an automatic pistol, taught Anna how to use the radio, showed the escape routes on the map if something went wrong. The ranch is at the end of a dirt road, he explained, 3 miles from the main highway. If you need to escape, don't go back the same way. There's a trail that passes behind the house and comes out on a neighboring farm. From there, you can get to the highway. And if the owners of the farm report us, they're good people. I knew them when I was a cop. If you explain the situation, they'll help. Anna studied the map carefully, memorizing every detail. How many girls do you think are at the ranch? She asked. From what I know, they keep between 5 and 8 girls at a time, Valdesi replied. When they get about 10, they take them all to Washington, D.C. at once. And what do they do with them there? Valdesi hesitated before answering. They sell them to brothels, to rich people who like new things. Anna turned pale. Even expecting the answer, hearing the truth still hurt. Anna, I said, are you still sure you want to do this? More sure than ever. No girl deserves to go through this. And you, John, Valdesi asked, are you sure? I thought about my life before I met Anna. Empty, without purpose, without joy. Then I thought about the life I could have if we managed to free those girls. A life with meaning, a life worth living, I'm sure. That night, I slept little again. But this time, it wasn't fear that kept me awake. It was determination. For the first time in 4 years, I had a clear mission: to save innocent people. That was what I was still alive for. Wednesday dawned clear and dry. We left Little Rock at 7 in the morning in a pickup truck borrowed from a friend of Valdesi. Anna was in the passenger seat, nervous but determined. I drove slowly, trying to look like a common farmer going to take care of business. The road to the ranch was isolated indeed. We passed 2 farms on the way, then only dense woods. When we got close to the place, we parked the truck hidden in a thicket and continued on foot. The trafficker's ranch was on top of a small hill. Big house in the center, some outbuildings around, all surrounded by a high wall and an iron gate. From our hiding place in the woods, you could see everything perfectly. How many men do you see? I whispered to Anna. She looked through the binoculars that Valdesi had lent. 2 at the gate, 1 walking in the yard. I think there are only 3. And the girls? I don't see any. They must be inside the house. We watched for 2 hours. The men followed a routine. 1 always at the entrance gate, 1 patrolling the area, 1 inside the house. Every half hour they changed positions. Did you see any entrance from the back? I asked. Anna pointed to the right side of the house. There's a small door there. Seems to be from the kitchen, and the windows in the back don't have bars. Perfect. That's how we're going to enter tomorrow. How are we going to get there without being seen? Through those woods there on the side. I showed an area with dense trees that reached almost to the wall. At night, with them inattentive, it's possible. Anna nodded. She was nervous, but not afraid. It was a nervous of someone who's eager to do the right thing. Anna, I said softly, last chance to give up. No one will judge you if you change your mind. I'm not going to change. Those girls need us. Then let's go. We've seen what we needed. We returned to the truck and left the area. On the way back to Little Rock, we stopped at a gas station to review the plans. 3 men, as Valdesi said, Anna summarized. 1 at the gate, 1 patrolling, 1 inside the house. Entry through the back is possible. But it has to be quick and quiet. And the girls? They must be in a locked room. We're going to have to look for it. Anna was quiet for a few minutes, thinking. John Batista, what if the girls don't want to come? What if they're too scared to trust us? It was a real possibility. Traumatized girls, who had suffered a lot, might not believe that we were there to help. That's why you're going too. They'll trust you more than me. And if they still don't trust, then we're going to have to convince them quickly, because we're not going to have much time in there. We arrived in Little Rock in the middle of the afternoon. Valdesi was anxiously awaiting news. How was it? He asked before we even entered the house. We told him everything we saw. The number of men, their routine, the possible entrances, the escape plan. It seems feasible, he admitted, but I still think it's too risky. Valdesi, Anna said seriously, if it were your daughter trapped on that ranch, would you think it was too risky? The question caught him off guard. Valdesi was quiet for a few seconds before answering. If it was my daughter, I would have blown up that whole place by now. Then understand me. I understand. But it doesn't stop being dangerous. We're going to be careful, but we can't stop trying. The rest of the afternoon was spent checking equipment. Valdesi gave us dark clothes, small flashlights, ropes, a first aid kit. Take water and food too, he advised. You may have to stay hidden for a few hours. We hope not. Hoping is one thing, preparing is another. At night, I tried to sleep early to be rested the next day, but sleep didn't come. My head wouldn't stop working, thinking about everything that could go wrong. Anna couldn't sleep either. I heard her moving in the room, walking from one side to the other. I got up and knocked lightly on the door. Anna, you all right? I can't sleep. Can I come in? You can. I opened the door slowly. Anna was sitting on the edge of the bed, hugging her legs. She looked like a scared girl. Afraid? I asked. A little. And you? Too. John Batista, what if we don't manage to save them? What if we only manage to make the situation worse? It was the same doubt that tormented me. Anna, we can't think like that. We have to believe that it's going to work out. But what if it doesn't? If it doesn't, at least we tried. At least we didn't stand idly by watching them suffer. Anna nodded. It's true. It's better to try and fail than to never try. Exactly. John Batista. Yes, thank you for everything, for saving me, for protecting me, for agreeing to do this with me. You're the bravest man I've ever known. Her words moved me. It had been a long time since anyone had called me brave. Anna, the brave one is you. I'm just doing what any decent person would do. It's not true. Many decent people would close their eyes, pretend it's not their problem. You don't. You decided to fight, because it's worth fighting for you, for them, for all the girls who deserve a dignified life. Anna got up from the bed and gave me a hug. Not a quick hug, but a long hug, full of affection and gratitude. Everything is going to be all right tomorrow, she said. I'm sure. How can you be sure? Because we're on the right side. And in the end, the right side always wins. I wanted to believe in that. I wanted to believe that justice always wins, that good always triumphs over evil. But life had taught me that it's not always like that. I hope you're right. I am. You'll see. I went back to the room more calmly. Anna had managed to pass on some of her confidence to me. Maybe it was the naivety of a young girl, or maybe it was the wisdom of someone who had already suffered a lot and learned to find hope where others only see despair. Thursday dawned cloudy. Heavy clouds covered the sky, threatening rain. It could be good or bad for our plans. Rain would help us to hide, but it would make it difficult to escape with the girls. Valdesi made a hearty breakfast. Eat a lot, he advised. You don't know when you're going to eat again. At 10 o'clock, we saw the blue truck of the traffickers passing on the main highway, heading to Washington, D.C. It was the three of them. Baldy, the tall and skinny one, the short and fat one. They had left to pick up more merchandise. "Now it's going," I said to Anna. "Now it's going," she replied, determined. We left Little Rock at noon. The plan was to arrive at the ranch in the middle of the afternoon, when the guards would be more relaxed. We stayed hidden in the woods until nightfall, then entered the house from the back. It seemed simple on paper. In reality, I knew it was going to be much more complicated. But it didn't matter. It had to work. Innocent girls depended on us. Anna depended on me. I couldn't disappoint anyone. The truck cut through the dusty road while dark clouds gathered on the horizon. A storm was approaching, and along with it, the most important moment of my life since Mary passed. We got close to the ranch at 3 in the afternoon. The sky was getting darker, the heavy clouds promising a storm for the end of the day. We hid the truck in the same place as the day before and followed on foot to our observation post in the woods. The routine of the guards was the same. One at the entrance gate, one patrolling the yard, one inside the house. Anna watched everything through the binoculars, noting the times of each movement. "They change positions every half hour," she whispered. "Always at the same time, 3:30, 4 o'clock, 4:30. Perfect. When it gets dark, we'll wait for them to change at 7:30. Then we have half an hour to enter and leave. And if we don't manage in half an hour, we have to manage." The hours passed slowly. The sun was setting on the horizon, painting the sky red. The first lightning appeared in the distance, still without the sound of thunder. At 6 o'clock, it started to rain. First a fine drizzle, then thicker drops. It was good for our plans. The rain would muffle any noise we made. "It's time," I said when the clock marked 7:20. Anna took a deep breath, checked the radio on her waist, adjusted the backpack on her back. "I'm ready. Remember the plan?" "I remember. We enter through the back door. You neutralize the guard inside. I look for the girls. We all leave through the same door. And if something goes wrong, we use the radio to call Valdisi. We leave on the trail from the back." "All right, let's go." We left the woods running low, taking advantage of the darkness and the sound of the rain. The wall of the ranch was almost 7 feet high, but we managed to climb over the back, where the trees came very close. On the other side of the wall, we stopped to listen. You could only hear rain hitting the roof and the ground. No sound of footsteps, no voice. "The patrol guard must be protecting himself from the rain," I whispered. We ran to the back door. It was a simple wooden door with a small window on the side. I peeked through the window. The kitchen was empty, just a dim light on the ceiling. I tested the doorknob slowly, locked. Anna took a hairpin from her backpack. "Leave it to me," she whispered. I didn't know she knew how to pick locks. In 2 minutes, the door was open. We entered the kitchen in silence. The floor was ceramic. Our wet feet made a little noise with every step. We stopped to listen again. Voices coming from the front room. Television on. 2 men talking. Anna whispered in my ear. "Where's the third? Must be patrolling or at the gate." We crossed the kitchen slowly, reached a door that led to the main hallway. I peeked, long corridor with several doors on both sides. The voices were coming from a room at the end of the corridor. "The girls must be in one of those rooms," Anna whispered. "I'm going to the living room to neutralize the guards. You look for the girls. Shout if you need help." Anna nodded and headed to the first door on the right. I went down the hallway towards the voices, stepping slowly so as not to make noise. I got close to the room and peeked through the half-open door. 2 men sitting on the sofa watching television, beer in hand. One was young, skinny, with a bad character face. The other was older, fat, bearded. I took a deep breath, held the gun firmly, and entered the room. "Quiet. Nobody moves," I said low but firm. The 2 were terribly frightened. The young man dropped the beer on the floor, the liquid spreading on the floor. The older one raised his hands slowly. "Easy, friend," said the old man. "We don't want trouble. Where are the girls?" "What girls?" The young man tried to pretend he didn't know. I pointed the gun at his head. "Don't make me lose my patience. Where are the girls you kidnapped?" "In the back room," the old man replied quickly. Blue door at the end of the hallway. How many? 6. Where's the third guard? Left for town. Won't be back until tomorrow. Lie. I had seen 3 men on the reconnaissance, but I didn't have time to interrogate. You two lie on the floor, face down. They obeyed. I took the rope from the backpack and tied the hands of the 2 behind their backs. Then I tied their feet too. They were going to stay there for a long time. If you shout, if you try to get out of there, I'll come back and you won't like it, I threatened. I left the room running down the hallway. Anna was no longer in the room she had entered first. I went to the blue door at the end of the hallway. Anna? I called softly. I'm here, came her voice from inside the room. I opened the door. It was a large room with bunk beds leaning against the walls. 6 girls were sitting on the beds, all young, all looking scared. Anna was in the middle of them, trying to calm them down. Guys, this is John Batista, Anna said to them. He came to help me get you out of here. The girls looked at me distrustfully. Normal. For them, every man was an enemy. How are you? I asked softly. Scared, replied one of them, blonde, who shouldn't have been more than 18 years old. Did you really come to help us? We came, Anna replied, but we have to get out of here quickly. The men who kidnapped you can come back at any moment. And where are we going? Another girl asked. A safe place, far from here. How do we know we can trust? Anna got up and looked at all of them. Because I was also in your place. These men tried to catch me last week. John Batista saved me. Now we've come to save you too. Anna's words made a difference. The girls got up slowly, still scared but determined to try. Can you walk? I asked. We can, the blonde replied. They haven't hurt us physically. Yet. Then let's go. Quick and quiet. We left the room in line. Anna in the front, me in the back, the 6 girls in the middle. We crossed the hallway slowly, reached the kitchen. That's when we heard the noise. Front door opening, heavy footsteps entering the house. Man's voice shouting, Hey Zay, Raimundo, where are you? The third guard had returned, and he was going to find the other 2 tied up in the room. Run, I whispered to the girls. Get out through the back door. Anna, take them to the wall. And you? Anna asked. I'm going to give you time to escape. I'm not going to leave you here. Anna, take them away, now. She hesitated for a second but obeyed. She opened the back door and left with the 6 girls in the rain. I stayed in the kitchen, gun pointed at the door that led to the living room. I heard the man shouting louder. What the hell is this? Who tied you up? There's an intruder in the house, answered the voice of the old man. They took the girls. What do you mean they took the girls? Heavy footsteps coming in my direction. There was no time to run. I was going to have to face him. The man appeared at the kitchen door. He was big, strong, with a face that didn't inspire friendship. He was startled when he saw me, but he reacted quickly, pulling a gun from his waistband. I shot first. The shot hit him in the shoulder, threw him back. His gun flew away. He screamed in pain, but didn't pass out. Son of a bitch, he growled, holding his bleeding shoulder. Stay right there, I said, keeping the gun pointed at him, but he didn't stay put. Even wounded, he threw himself on top of me. We were 2 big men fighting in a small kitchen. We bumped into the table, the refrigerator. We knocked down pans from the stove. He was younger, stronger. He managed to knock me to the ground, tried to grab my gun. We fought for the pistol, rolling on the wet floor. In the struggle, the gun fired. The shot hit the ceiling, causing plaster to rain down on us. The noise was deafening. I managed to knee him in the stomach. He doubled over in pain, released the pistol. I grabbed the gun and moved away, panting. Now you stay quiet, I said, pointing at him. But the damage was done. The shots had attracted attention. I heard police sirens in the distance coming in our direction. Anna, I said on the radio. Where are you? We're past the wall, came her crackling voice. We're going to the truck. The police are coming. Get out of there fast. And you? I'm going out on the trail from the back. We'll meet at the agreed point. I left the kitchen running, crossed the yard to the back wall. The rain had increased. It was difficult to see anything. I climbed the wall, fell on the other side, started running on the trail that Valdesi had shown on the map. The trail was steep, slippery with the rain. Several times I almost fell, but I kept running. Behind me, I heard voices of police officers entering the ranch, barking of sniffer dogs. I ran for half an hour in the darkness, tripping on roots, scratching my face on the branches. When I finally arrived at the neighboring farm, I was soaked, dirty, tired. The farmer was on the porch, as if he was waiting. "You must be the John Batista that Valdesi spoke about," he said. "I am. Did the girls get here?" They did. They're all in the house drinking hot coffee, including Anna. I felt an enormous relief. They had managed to escape. "Did the police pass by here?" They did. They asked if I had seen anything strange. I said no. They followed on the main road. "Thank you for everything. Valdesi is an old friend, and what you did was right. I couldn't let those girls suffer." I entered the house. Anna ran to hug me. "Are you all right?" she asked, checking if I was hurt. "I am." "And them?" "All well, scared, but well." I looked at the 6 girls sitting in the living room. They were still scared, but there was something different in their eyes. Hope. For the first time in a long time, they had hope. The blonde girl got up and came to talk to me. "Thank you," she said, her voice choked, "for saving us, for risking yourself for us." "No need to thank me. Anyone would do the same." "It's not true. Many people knew we were there and did nothing." The other girls approached too, one by one. They thanked me. Some crying, others smiling, all with that look of someone who has just been freed. "What now?" asked one of them. "What's going to become of us?" "Now you're going to a safe place," I replied, "far from those men. You're going to be able to start life again." "How?" "Valdesi has contacts at the FBI. They're going to take care of you. They're going to provide protection, work, a place to live." "Really? Really?" Anna approached me. "John Batista, we did it. We saved them. We did it. Yes. All of you are free now. And the men from the ranch, the police caught them. They're going to be locked up for a long time." It wasn't entirely true. We had only caught the henchmen. The bosses of the gang, including Baldy, were still loose. But at least those 6 girls were safe, and that was worth all the risk we ran. The farmer offered us a house to spend the night. The next morning, Valdesi arrived with an FBI van. 2 federal agents, a social worker, a doctor. Personnel specialized in caring for victims of human trafficking. "Girls," the FBI agent said to them, "you're safe now. We're going to Washington, D.C., where you're going to receive all the necessary help. New documents, medical treatment, psychological support, and when you feel ready, help to find work and a place to live." "And the men who held us prisoner?" the blonde asked. "They're going to be arrested and prosecuted. With your testimony, we managed to shut down the entire gang. We won't have to live in fear of them coming back. No, they're going to stay in jail a long time, and you're going to have official protection for as long as necessary." One by one, the girls entered the van. Before leaving, the blonde came to talk to me again. "How can I repay what you did for me? By being happy, building a good life. That's all I want. One day I'm going to do something to repay, I promise. No need to promise anything, just live well. It's worth more than anything." Anna was the last to enter the van. Before she came to give me a long hug. "John Batista, I don't know how to thank you. You changed my life, changed the lives of all of us. Anna, you changed my life, gave me purpose again, made me remember that I can still be useful. You've always been useful. You just needed a reason to remember. Everything is going to be all right in Washington, D.C. It will. And when I'm settled, I'll give you news. You're family now. Family doesn't abandon each other. Anna, yes? I'm proud of you, of the courage you had, of the strength you showed. Your aunt would be proud too." Her eyes filled with tears, but they were tears of joy. "Thank you for making me feel that I have someone who cares about me. You always will have, for the rest of your life. Anna entered the van. They waved through the window when they left. I stayed there on the dirt road, watching them disappear on the curve, taking with them a piece of my heart. But it was a piece that I gave with joy, because I knew it was going to a better place, to a better future. Valdesi came to stand by my side. "How do you feel?" he asked. "Empty and full at the same time." "How so?" "Empty because Anna left. Full because we did the right thing." "You were heroes, John. True heroes." "We're not heroes, Valdesi. We just did what had to be done. That's what makes a hero. Doing what has to be done when nobody else does." We stayed there on the road talking until the sun set. Then we went back home to normal life. But nothing was going to be normal again, because I had discovered something important. There was still a reason to live. There were still people to protect. There was still good to do in the world. Anna had arrived in my life like rain in the middle of a drought. And when she left the earth wet, fertile, ready to grow again. I was a lonely widower who had lost the meaning of life. Now I was a man who knew what he was for, to protect the weak, to fight for the wronged, to be the difference that the world so badly needs. And that, I discovered, was worth all the risks I ran, worth all the pain I felt, worth all the longing I was going to feel. 6 months later, I was in the pasture taking care of the cattle when I heard the sound of an engine on the road. It wasn't time for a visit. I wasn't expecting anyone. I walked to the gate to see who it was. A white truck stopped in front of the house. A woman got out on the driver's side, hair tied back, simple but neat clothes, smile on her face. It took me a few seconds to recognize. It was Anna, but it wasn't the same scared Anna that I found in the woods 6 months ago. This Anna had a firm look, confident manner, smiled easily. This Anna had found her place in the world. "John Batista!" she shouted, running towards me. She hugged me tightly, like a daughter hugging a father she hadn't seen in a long time. I felt tears in my eyes, tears of pure joy. "Anna, what a nice surprise. How are you?" "I'm well, very well. I came to pay you a visit that I should have made a long time ago." "You're different," I said, looking at her closely. "More strong." "I am indeed. Life in Washington, D.C. has been good to me. I learned a lot, met good people, found my way. Tell me everything. Let's go home for coffee." We walked home talking. Anna told me how the adaptation in Washington, D.C. was. In the beginning, it was difficult, a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of fear still stuck in my chest, but little by little it was getting better. The FBI helped me with new documents, birth certificate, ID, social security number, all clean, she said. And they put me in a witness protection program. "Are you feeling safe?" "Completely. The men from the gang were all arrested. Baldy got 15 years in jail. The others too." "And work?" "I got a job at an NGO that takes care of women victims of violence. I work in psychological support, helping other girls who have been through a similar situation as me." I was moved to hear that. Anna had transformed her pain into help for other people. "It was the most beautiful thing that could have happened. Anna, what pride. You turned into exactly the person I imagined you would turn into. I learned from you. I learned that when you go through something bad, you can choose to be bitter forever or use the experience to help those who are going through the same thing." We arrived at the house. The kitchen was clean, organized, but it still had that way of a lonely widower's house. Anna noticed, "You haven't changed much here." "Why change? It's good like this." "But it's too quiet, too empty." It was true. After Anna left, the loneliness returned. Not the same bitter loneliness as before, but still loneliness. "I'm used to the silence." Anna looked at me with a face that didn't believe. "John Batista, can I ask you a personal question?" "Sure. Do you think about getting married again?" The question caught me by surprise. "Marry? Anna, I'm 54 years old. Who would want an old farmer like me? Any woman with sense. You're good, brave, hardworking, honest. There are a lot of women out there looking for a man like that. I don't think about those things. You should think. Mary passed, but you didn't, and I'm sure she wouldn't like to see you alone forever. She served coffee for both of us and continued talking. You know, John Batista, when I was in Washington, D.C. doing therapy, the psychologist told me something important. She said that when you go through trauma, through loss, through pain, you sometimes think you no longer deserve to be happy, as if happiness was a betrayal to the one who left. And what did you answer? In the beginning, I agreed. I thought I didn't deserve to be happy after everything I'd been through, but then I understood that it's the opposite. We deserve to be happy exactly because of what we went through. The pain we suffered gives us the right to seek joy. Anna's words went straight to my heart. It had been 6 months since I had been thinking about it, without admitting it. Would Mary like to see me alone forever? Or did she want me to be happy again? Anna, and you? Are you dating anyone? She smiled, blushed. I am. A guy who works at the NGO with me, Raphael. He's a psychologist, specialist in trauma. We met taking care of a girl who had been trafficked like me. And is it serious? Very serious. We've been living together for 2 months. He proposed to me last week. I felt immense joy. Anna had found not only security, but true love. Anna, what wonderful news! Congratulations! Thank you. And you know why I came here? To tell me the news? To ask you something very important. Anna got serious, looked me in the eyes. John Batista, will you walk me down the aisle? The question caught me so unprepared that I couldn't speak for a few seconds. Anna, I don't know what to say. Say yes. You're the most important person in my life. Without you, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be happy. I wouldn't be dating. I wouldn't be building a future. You're my father at heart, and I want you to be the one to hand me over to the man I chose. I couldn't hold back the emotion. I started crying right there at the kitchen table, crying with joy, with pride, with paternal love. It would be the greatest honor of my life, I managed to say. Anna got up from the chair and gave me another hug. Thank you, Dad, for everything. Dad. She called me Dad. It was the first time anyone had called me that. Mary and I never had children. I thought I would never know what it was like to be a father. But Anna taught me, when will the wedding be? In 2 months. It's going to be simple, just family and close friends. But it's going to be special. It's going to be beautiful, I'm sure. And there's one more thing I want to tell you. What? Raphael and I are organizing a new NGO here in the country, specifically to combat human trafficking in small towns. We want to open an office in Little Rock, another in Tulsa, another in Oklahoma City. Anna, what a fantastic idea. And I want you to be our regional coordinator. Again, I was speechless. Coordinator? Anna, I don't understand anything about NGOs, about bureaucracy, but you understand people. You understand justice. You understand what is right and what is wrong. And people trust you. That's what matters. But I don't have education. I don't have... John Batista, you have something that you don't learn at school. You have heart, and courage to use that heart when you need it. It's more important than any diploma. I thought about the proposal, working to combat the same evil that almost destroyed Anna, helping other girls escape the destiny she escaped, giving definitive purpose to the rest of my life. What would I have to do? Travel through the region, talk to people from small towns, identify risk situations. Orphaned girls, very poor families, places where traffickers usually look for victims. And when you find these situations, call our team. And what would you do? Social work, help to families, guidance to girls, partnerships with local police, education about the dangers of human trafficking. It was perfect. It was exactly what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Anna, I accept. With great pride. Serious. When do we start? After my wedding. Raphael wants to meet you first, talk about the details of the project. It's going to be great to meet him too. We spent the rest of the afternoon talking about the future. Anna told me more details about the NGO, about Raphael, about their plans. I told how my life was going, the changes I made on the farm, the new friendships I had made in the area. You know, John Batista, there's one thing I've always wanted to ask you, Anna said when the sun began to set. What? That day you found me in the woods, crying, scared. What went through your head? Why did you decide to help me? I thought about the question. It was a question I asked myself sometimes. You know, Anna, that day I was dead inside. It had been 4 years since I just existed. I didn't really live. When I saw you there, suffering, alone, something inside me woke up. Like I remembered what a real man is for. What is he for? To protect those who need it, to do what is right even when it's difficult, to be the difference that the world needs. Anna smiled. And today? How do you feel today? Today, I feel alive again, with purpose, with a future ahead. That's what you gave me too. Future. We saved each other, Anna. I saved you from the traffickers. You saved me from loneliness. The sun set slowly behind the hills, painting the sky red and orange. Anna had to go back to Washington, D.C. that night, but she promised that she would come to pick me up for the wedding. When it was time to say goodbye, she gave me another long hug. John Batista, thank you for teaching me that there are still good people in the world. Anna, thank you for teaching me that it's still worth fighting for what is right. I'll see you in 2 months. I'll see you. And, Anna, yes, I'm very proud of the woman you've become. Mary would be proud too. I'm sure she's watching from up there, and she's happy to see you happy again. Anna left when the first stars appeared in the sky. I stayed at the gate watching the truck headlights disappear on the curve, but this time I didn't feel sadness. I felt joy, because I knew that Anna wasn't leaving my life again. She was entering for good, now as true family. As a daughter I never had and always wanted to have. I went back home, and for the first time in 6 months, I didn't feel the weight of loneliness. The house wasn't empty. It was full of hope, of plans, of future. 2 weeks later, I received a letter from Anna. Along with the letter, a photo of her and Raphael, a tall, dark-haired guy, sincere smile, a look of someone who understands suffering but chose to see beauty in the world anyway. In the letter, she told me more details about the wedding and about the NGO. And she ended with a sentence that moved me. Dad, thank you for teaching me that family isn't just who is born together. It's who chooses to stay together in difficult times. You'll always be my true family. I kept the letter in a special drawer, along with the photos of Mary, 2 women who had changed my life, one teaching me the love of a husband, another teaching me the love of a father. A month before the wedding, I started to get ready. I bought new clothes, cut my hair, even shaved the beard I had used for years. I wanted to be presentable to walk my daughter down the aisle. Valdesi came to visit me on the eve of the trip to Washington, D.C. John, you look like another man, he said. Younger, more animated. I feel like another man indeed. Anna has been good for you. We've been good for each other. And this new job at the NGO. Are you excited? Very. I'm finally going to have something important to do. You've always had, John. Always had. The wedding was beautiful, simple but moving. Anna was radiant in a simple white dress, Raphael elegant in a blue suit. When it was time to hand her over at the altar, I felt my chest full of pride and love. Take care of her, I said to Raphael. I'm going to take care of her as if she were the most precious thing in the world, he replied. She is indeed. The party was small but cheerful. I met Anna's colleagues from the NGO, friends of Raphael, some of the girls who had been saved along with her. All happy, all rebuilding their lives. At the end of the night, Anna came to say goodbye. Dad, thank you for being here, for making this day perfect. Thank you for letting me be a part of it. Now we're true partners, in life and in work, partners and family, forever. I returned to the farm the next day, but I didn't return to loneliness. I returned to a new life with a new purpose. In 2 weeks, I was going to start at the NGO. I was going to travel through the country combating human trafficking. I was going to help other Annas escape the cruel destiny that almost destroyed my daughter. That was what I was alive for. That was why I went through everything I went through, to be in the right place at the right time when Anna needed, and to use that experience helping other people. 6 months after the wedding, I received another letter from Anna. This time, it had a small photo inside. Ultrasound of a baby. "Dad, you're going to be a grandfather. Raphael and I decided that if it's a girl, she's going to be called Mary. In honor of your wife and my grandmother at heart." I cried, reading the letter, crying with pure joy. Mary was going to live again, in the name of a granddaughter she never met, but who was going to carry her memory. Life had taught me that people come and go from our life for a reason. Mary came to teach me true love. Anna came to teach me that love doesn't die, it only transforms. And now a granddaughter was coming to teach me that love multiplies, passes from generation to generation, never ends. That day, for the first time in years, I managed to look at Mary's photo without feeling pain. I only felt gratitude for having had her in my life, gratitude for Anna having appeared when I needed it, gratitude for having discovered that it's never too late to start again. "Mary," I said, looking at the photo, "our daughter is well. She married a good man. She's going to have a child. She's helping other girls. You would be proud of her, as I am." The wind shook the curtains of the window as if it were an answer, as if Mary were there, agreeing, smiling along with me. I went out to the yard to watch the sunset. The chickens scratched on the ground. The cows mooed in the pasture. The crickets began to sing. Everything the same as always. But I wasn't the same anymore. I was no longer the lonely widower who mourned his dead wife. I was a proud father of a brave daughter. I was a grandfather waiting for a granddaughter. I was a man with important work ahead. I was someone who had discovered that life doesn't end when we lose someone important. Life continues, transforms, finds new paths. And sometimes those paths lead to more beautiful places than we imagined possible. Anna had arrived in my life like rain in the middle of the fiercest drought. And when the rain passed, she left the earth wet, fertile, ready to give new fruits. Fruits of love, fruits of hope, fruits of a life that was worth living. The sun set slowly behind the hills, painting the sky with beautiful colors. And I stayed there in the yard, watching the night come, knowing that tomorrow was going to be a better day. Because I had discovered something important. No matter how dark the night is, the sun always rises again. And when it rises, it brings new light for new life. That was what Anna had taught me. And that was what I was going to teach my granddaughter Mary when she arrived. That it's always worth believing in the dawn. Epilogue. 3 years later, one Sunday morning, a grey-haired man pushed a stroller in the central square of Little Rock. Inside the stroller, a 2-year-old girl looked at everything with curiosity, smiling at the birds, babbling loose words. "Grandpa John Birdie!" she shouted, pointing to a mockingbird that landed on a tree nearby. "That's right, Mary. It's a mockingbird. It sings pretty, doesn't it?" The girl clapped her hands, happy. John Batista smiled, feeling his heart full of joy. Next to him, Anna pushed another stroller, this one with a 6-month-old baby. "Peter is sleeping," she commented, looking at her youngest son. "Better. This way we can talk in peace." They sat on a bench in the square. It was late afternoon. The golden sun painted everything beautifully. Other families strolled around there. Children played in the playground. "Dad," Anna said, "I have news to tell." "What news?" "The NGO received a big grant from the federal government. We're going to be able to open 5 new offices in the country of Oklahoma." John smiled. In the last 3 years, he had traveled through dozens of towns, identified hundreds of girls in situations of risk, helped to dismantle several trafficking gangs. It was the most important job of his life. That's good, Anna. Each new office means more girls saved. And there's more. Raphael was invited to give a lecture about our work at the UN in New York. The UN? Anna, you're becoming famous. It's not fame that we want, Dad. It's results. It's seeing girls free, building a new life. Mary started crying in the stroller. John picked her up, rocked her slowly. Shh, granddaughter, Grandpa is here. The girl calmed down immediately, snuggled her head on John's chest. He felt immense tenderness. She loves you, Anna observed. And I love her. I love you all. You know, Dad, I sometimes think, if those men hadn't found me on the road that day, none of this would have happened. I wouldn't have met you. I wouldn't have become who I am today. Anna, I'm not saying that what happened was good. It was terrible. But in the end, it brought us to each other. It brought purpose to our lives. John shook his head. You know what I think, Anna? I think the right people always meet at the right time, one way or another. You really think so? I'm sure. You needed protection. I needed purpose. Life brought us together. The sun was setting. Time to go home. John put Mary back in the stroller. Anna woke Peter up to nurse. They walked through the square in silence, each lost in their own thoughts. When they got to the car, Anna said, Dad, can I ask you a question? Sure. Are you happy? John didn't hesitate to answer. More happy than I imagined I could be again. Then it was worth it. All suffering, all pain, all fear. It was worth it. It was worth it, daughter. It was worth a lot. They got in the car and followed home, where Raphael was waiting for them with dinner ready and a smile on his face. A family that destiny brought together, that courage kept united, that love made strong, and on the dusty road that led back to the farm, if someone paid attention, they could hear the wind whispering among the trees, a truth as old as the world, that sometimes life breaks us to teach us to fix others, and that in the end, who loves the most is who lives the most, that it's always worth believing in the rain, even in the fiercest drought, because the rain always comes. And when it comes, it makes the earth flourish again. Between the drought and the rain, we discover that we are stronger than we imagine, and that true love doesn't die. It just changes shape and continues growing, from heart to heart, from life to life.